Okay, so American Express literally just changed the credit card industry forever. And they did this with their new feature that was just released within the last couple of weeks, to which they're calling the Apply with Confidence tool, which pretty much just lets you get pre-approved whichever credit card that you want in the American Express universe, with pretty much no risk to your credit score whatsoever, since it's all going to be done via soft pull. Now you guys probably already know, but the difference between hard pulls and soft pulls is that hard pulls actually go into a deep dive into your credit profile, and the banks just want to see a little bit more information on you, which in turn ends up actually hurting your credit score for the short term. And soft pulls are pretty much just checking your credit score lightly, so to speak, so this way it doesn't actually affect your credit score, but can still allow you to get approved for certain credit cards. Before I go any further, are there any American Express cards that you guys personally want right now? But Anthony, a lot of different credit card companies also have a pre-approval process. This is nothing new. How is it changing the industry? And I'm glad you asked, so let me tell you the small difference on what American Express is doing versus everybody else. Now when you actually go on to the specific page within the American Express website, I'll leave it in the comments below. When you peruse and you finally figure out which credit cards you actually want to see if you could get pre-approved for, what you could technically do with this new feature is you can actually get pre-approved for multiple American Express cards. So let's say the Blue Cash Everyday card, Blue Cash Preferred, Amex Gold, Amex Platinum, as many as you want. Get pre-approved for them via soft pull, to which they will actually ask you which credit cards do you actually want out of this whole group that you just got pre-approved for. That's right, they're literally giving it into your hands to see if you want to get approved or deny yourself of whatever credit cards you just listed. Which is honestly mind-blowing because all the other credit card issuers all allow you to get a pre-approval process, but then when you actually go through with the application, you're pretty much automatically approved. It won't give you a second option on whether or not you want to get approved or not. Which means that maybe if you just were hastily jumping into it and you got a credit card that you may not have wanted, you're kind of just stuck with that credit card, and then you're probably not going to try to apply for a new credit card subsequently after. You're probably going to wait another few months, which is just wasted time and wasted money. So now with American Express, you could just apply for 7 different American Express credit cards, and then you could choose from that list, oh, I want this one, don't want that one, and then so on and so forth. It just leads you to think, as a consumer, American Express doesn't want to waste my time, and they don't want to scam me either. Not saying that those other banks are scams, but now you just have a multitude of options with essentially no risk. Well, if you want to continue watching this video, just make sure you pre-approve Anthony Venture by hitting the like and subscribe button, and just see if you're pre-approved to keep watching. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to give you any soft pulls. Maybe a hard pull, though. Okay, is that an innuendo or what, Anthony? What are we doing here? Before you ask the question, yes, when you get pre-approved and you apply and actually go through the application process with any of the American Express cards, it's still going to give you a hard pull on your credit score. But 2 caveats and some great things about American Express is, 1, American Express typically only pulls from one credit bureau, that being Experian. Meanwhile, if you look at banks like Chase and especially Capital One, they could pull from 2 to even 3 different credit bureaus when actually going through the approval process for your credit card. One reason that's important, and you probably know some friends that have a very high Experian score, but then you go to your TransUnion and it's much lower, and you're like, why does that happen? It's because whatever credit cards that they have only pulled from certain credit bureaus over time. And what can eventually happen over time is you go for car loans or home loans, they could sometimes use just what's called your FICO 2, FICO 3, or FICO 5 scores, which only uses 1 out of the 3 of the credit bureaus most of the time. So maybe if the bank that you're trying to get a loan for only pulls from maybe TransUnion, but all this time you've only been pulling from Experian with the Amex cards, that could possibly mean that your TransUnion is actually a lot higher than your Experian, depending on the time that you pull it, which could lead to higher loan amounts, better interest rates, etc., etc. So a lot of good things. Now, the second caveat to actually getting American Express credit cards is they actually, once you have one American Express card within their ecosystem, typically every other subsequent card that you open are also only soft pulls. That's right, I literally have 6 American Express credit cards, and the only one that I was hard pulled for was my first one. Every single card after that, all 5 of them were all soft pulls, which means no risk to my credit score whatsoever for each new opening. And another little side thing that's kind of related to this, I looked on Reddit, and apparently with some other banks that do pre-approval processes, apparently it's not a guarantee that you actually get approved for the credit card you were just pre-approved for. Maybe you guys can correct me in the comments below, but is that really a thing? So if that is a thing, then I guess another good thing that actually comes with this new feature is American Express guarantees 100% approval if you get pre-approved for whichever credit card you want. So I guess it's just another part of go with American Express because there's no risk. Danger, I mean, you know what I mean. And I guess the only other thing that's going to be giving you 100% approval is Anthony Venture. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And apparently in the not so distant future, you'll be able to do the same feature for all the co-branded cards that actually come with American Express, like maybe the Amazon Prime Amex card or, a few other ones. And I guess it just gives you a little bit more confidence when going into these new credit cards if it's your first time. Especially just a few years ago when I was just starting to collect American Express credit cards, I really wanted and I was really nervous to apply for the Amex Gold card. I really really wanted to make sure that my credit score was high enough before I actually got approved. But if I had this tool back then, I guess I wouldn't have been as nervous, and I would have just tried to pre-approve it before anything, as opposed to me just kind of waiting out and just trying to get my credit score much higher than 720 before I actually applied in the first place. So I think just a lot of saved time with this new feature, to be honest. One thing I like to think about too is getting a new credit card and making sure all the benefits actually benefit my life and I can get my money back. But just as important is which credit cards are no longer giving me benefits and when to actually cancel them. So if you guys want, I'll show you a breakdown on how I exactly think about my credit cards and when exactly to cancel them. So I'll leave that video on the left.